Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So, in today's video, I will be showing you the behind the scenes of this elegant Kente gown. But I am a fashion designer in Ghana, Kumasi to be precise. This project was to be sent and delivered to someone in the UK. So, I first and foremost went to a market to get some necessary materials I needed to accomplish this. I needed a plain kente and the pattern kente, so I had to go because she had a specific one she needed. This one I really didn't go the Born way. I just went to the central market to get one. So I started by drafting and cutting out the plain pattern. I started from the down before going up to the upper section, the corset section. So this is what you see me doing, and it had a lot of tail at the back, so I had to make sure that I was getting room for it for the back. But when you're working around Kente, you try to save every inch you can save. So when you see me going up and down like that, it means I'm actually doing some calculations, adding them together just so that I don't, waste like I don't waste any inch of fabric. So here in this section, I was working on the pattern Kente, and this is what you see me doing here. So here in this section, I was pinning it up so that I can get the measurement that I needed and the flow I needed. So that was it. I was trying my best to make sure I was saving enough fabric that can be used for other things if the need arises. So here in this section, I was joining the slit up because I was done cutting the tail, and then here I was basically walking around. She was a size 10, so that was the measurement I was using. And funny enough, her size and my size was just the same, so it made it extremely easier to achieve it, because when I was working around it, I know for sure size 10, this is where you work around. So all alterations and all fittings and stuff like that was actually worked on. When I'm working on project that has to be sent to the person or delivered, especially when the person is not here in Ghana, that means that there will be no fitting. So it means I have to make sure that I get the accurate measurement that will be needed. So I asked her dress size. She said she was a size 10. And I roughly asked if she could get me like her waist measurement, her hip and the bust measurement. When she sent them, it was like a real size 10, right? It wasn't like that measurement. Like we have this type of measurement that a person upper was going to be size 8, but a hips is going to be size 10. Like measurements like that do exist. So people like that, they really don't know which size they fit in perfectly. So I just asked her to give me like those credentials that could make it like let me know where she really stood or which size she really was. And then she sent it, and I had to work around it. So here in this section, I was working about inner lining, but with my lining, I always use sateen for my lining. That is the one that I really do work around. Like I just kind of connect with sateen more than the other lining. You can use any other fabric for your lining, but I prefer using bridal sateen, to be precise, like the bridal sateen, not any other sateen, but the bridal sateen is what I use for my lining. So here, that is what you see me working on. I was working with a zipper here in this section just to make sure that I get, it's sealed up, looking so clean, fresh and nice, as you can see. And I moved up to the overlock machine, which is also known as knitting machine here in Ghana. So I actually worked out with my overlock machine to just make sure that all the ends that are fraying can just be knitted out or overlocked to give nothing but a very nice finishing as well. So that is what you see me doing here. And yes, you might ask, who is sitting there? That is one of my students. I do take in students as well. If you want to have like online classes are available, but my online classes are done through video calls now, right? But I do have in-person training as well. So if you would love to come in for an in-person training, I do that as well. We have 3 month courses, 6 month courses, 1 year, 5 month courses, depending on which one would be suitable for you. I have weekend classes as well. So it actually depends on which one would be perfect for you. So here in this section, I was also working on the crinoline. I was attaching my crinoline, also known as horsehair. So that is what you see me sewing on. You sew it at the right section, you turn it to the inside, iron it, and sew it in the inside. That is how it is attached. Okay. So that is what you see me doing here, installing the crinoline. And the crinoline gives it a very like volume at the tip of the fabric. It just gives it this unique wavy shapeness that is so cool, and I just really love the effect it gives. So that is what you see turned out. But I would advise you actually do iron it before sewing it, because if this is your first time working around it and you don't iron it before sewing, you're gonna find yourself in a very uncomfortable situation. But because I've been working on it for quite some time, I do know when not to stretch it, when not to pull it, when to just make it go like extremely comfy. So that is what you see me doing here. But here in this section, I was also sewing out like half inch and 2 inches, just so that when it goes and it's too tight on the person, they can just release some of the stitches. So this is how it was looking. My measurement and her measurement she sent was exactly the same, so I actually fitted it to make sure that there will be no fitting in and stuff like that. So I had to make sure either could be accurate as it can be. So this is what you see. Can you see the tail, like the green tail with the pattern fabric and the crinoline at the tape? This is what it was given. The down section was completely done, and this is what it was given, right? Can you see the front? Go me, go me. Okay, so here I was drafting the upper section, which was the corset bodice. That is what you see me doing here. The camera was not quite positioned well. I don't know. I just missed out on that. So that is what you see me doing here. I was drafting the pattern for the bodice just so I could get nothing but accurate measurement for it, and that is what you see me doing. So here I moved on to the kente. The upper section or the bodice was actually a plain kente, so that is what you see me doing the cutting here in this section. Right, like I was saying, if you order for a dress or you want a specific work to be worked on and you're not here in Ghana, I can do video calls with you to give you like the measurements where I need and stuff. But if you can do that, I just let you take the measurement, you send them to me. But after I'm done working around it, I actually sew outside it, like maybe like if you size, let's say you have a hip 40, after working around the hip 40, I would actually sew another one to make it either 41 or 40.5, just so that when you don't really like how tight it is on your body and you want extra room for movement for you, or you don't want it too attached to your skin, you just release some of the stitches and you're good to go. So when it comes to me, like distance really isn't a problem. You don't necessarily also have to be here to do fittings and stuff. I'm just gonna pad up mannequins to make sure I get your measurement that you gave me, to make sure that it fits perfectly before it is sent to you. So here in this section, I was working around the upper section of it. This is what you see me doing here. Okay, so I cross-checked to see if all the patterns I needed was in, and this is me checking out if all the patterns are given the number I need to accept I get at the end of the day. But it was the number, so I moved on straight up to my bridal satin to cut the lining for it. That is what you see me doing here, cutting the lining for it so that I can get nothing but the best finishing I can ever get. I just don't know why, but I clinch towards bridal satin more than any other fabric. When I'm using that for my lining, I really cling towards bridal satin more. So this is what you see me doing here, cutting them up. I hope you're enjoying this video. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to leave a comment beneath it as well. So here I was actually applying my interface. This is a non-woven interface, right? There are different types of interfaces, but this is a non-woven one. It is also known as stay in Nigeria, but here in Ghana it is known as stiff. So that is what I was applying here in the lining, just so that it could give me that firmness and then like that in shape. So here in the section, the bra section actually had a pattern kente, right? So I was actually doing the cutting for the pattern section of it. That is what you see me doing here. So if you really keep your patterns around, it really does help you to know where to sew and where not to sew, especially when it comes to this type of corset. It entails a lot of details, so you just have to be extra careful with whatever stitch you're given, or else you'll be done and you would have to, just release every stitch you've made. Okay, but when you keep your patterns around, you get to know the numbers on them and which one to add. Because if you are attaching almost like 8 different patterns together, you can't even see if this is one, two, or three unless you write them on it. So I always advise that it is best that you always try your best to make sure that your numbers are written on it. So, time for the ironing. I had to move to the table to actually iron it out. This is how the inside is looking. If you can see where the green section really is, can you see how neat this work looks? Yeah. Okay, so here in this section, I was sealing it up, and yeah, I think I need to do an update video on where I am now concerning the shop. I know when I was moving into my new shop, I made a video on how the whole process went and stuff like that. I will be doing a video about how like the whole shop is, and do a video about my students and some of the workers we have there, hopefully very soon. But as soon as I do, I'll be leaving the link in the description of this video so that you can check that out as well. But don't forget to turn on your notification bell so as soon as I upload anything, you will be alerted about it. So here I was putting the crinoline, all the horsehair into the strap I had sewn, right? And I was just trying to make sure that it could enter it perfectly without it having any distractions at the end of the day. Working with horsehair can be quite breathtaking. Yeah, it can be quite breathtaking. So I'm trying my best to make sure that, these strings and these kind of debris don't really distract anything and waste any time. So here, this was the design. This was the pattern she wanted. She actually sent me an inspirational outfit on how she wanted to be like. So when I was working on it, I was just looking at how the inspiration she sent and pretty much trying everything to make sure that I was going by the pattern and the design and the inspiration, just so that it wouldn't be any problem. So here in the section 2 was the beading section. I would have a full video uploaded just dedicated for the beading. You can also check it out. I'll be leaving the link in the description. But these are some of the materials I use. And here I was actually applying the eyelets to it. So I'm actually cutting up the holes with my hammer and the cutter to make sure that all the holes are in it. And I was going to be uploading the eyelet, installing the eyelet story. So here I had to actually wear it out to see how it was looking. Can you see how the waist is getting cringed? Ooh, yay! So this is how it was looking like before the whole beading was yet to start. This was the back of it. Yeah. So here we started working with the beading, and this is it. I will be leaving the link in the description. You can actually also check it out. Check it out for the full tutorial on how I beaded the bridal fan. I beaded her bridal. I beaded everything, like the slits, like the borders or the corset, like the whole tutorials will be there in that section so that you can get real in-depth understanding on how the whole thing really came into being. So she wanted a fan to be done for her, so I actually got the materials for this fan as well. Did some curtains, the fan, sewing, more sewing, extra sewing while I was enjoying my movie, just so that I wouldn't be overwhelmed with the whole production with this project, because it had a little more details to it. She wanted a fan, she wanted a muffler, she wanted a scarf, she wanted like a whole lot of things. So I was just trying my best to make sure I was keeping up with this and getting a little bit distracted just so I don't become more overwhelmed with the product or like the whole process of it. So here in this section, that is what you see me doing. The fan was also beaded just so I just wanted to be the fan so that it will just connect with the dress. And then the moment you see this, you can see that, okay, so there is this connectivity with it. That is the reason why you see me using these kente for the outer section of it, because I just wanted it to connect perfectly with her fan. And this was the type of fan she wanted, so I had to make sure that I delivered what she wanted and wished for. Yeah, I had someone commenting on one of my videos that like the dress, the front of a dress was something and the back was something. I'm like, sometimes if a client just orders for something, you just have to make sure that you do that for them. You can't use your own knowledge to go about something someone doesn't like. If they give you a specification that this is what I want, that is what you're supposed to deliver for them. Okay, so sometimes when we upload projects and you don't find it appealing, that doesn't mean that the one that worked on the project is bad at it. Sometimes it's just a client that wants a specific type of thing to be present. So here, this is the end results of the whole process. This was how the whole thing was actually looking like. The slit was beaded, the upper borders was beaded, the corset was beaded, fully beaded, I can say. So this is how the back was also looking like. These are some of the footages or pictures and video I took before I sent them. Okay, so this is how it was really looking like at the end of the day. This was, can you see the beading? I'll be uploading tutorials on whole beading on the link will be in the description, so don't worry, you will get to know how this was done. So here, this is how it was, and I'm gonna be keeping quiet just so that you can breathe in more in with how this outfit looked this gorgeous. And hey, if you see me uploading any video or anything and you really don't like it or you don't feel the vibe with it, that might be the client's perfection, like preferred outfit. That doesn't mean that is a person that worked on it that is bad. It's just that a client wanted some specification to be done, and that is what was delivered. But here in this section, this is what you see here in this section. I hope you don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. So after she received it, these were some of the messages I received from her bag. I'm so thankful they were able to trust me here in Ghana to work on this amazing project to send it them to them. And I'm so excited. Thank you very much, dear one, for trusting me on this elegant piece. And you looked extremely gorgeous. Thank you very much once again.